Photographing the awesome beauty of the underwater world is the job of Howard Hall. His camera has recorded images of marine creatures doing amazing and surprising things, behaviors often never before captured on film. Howard and his crew spent 2 years traveling the world's oceans, capturing scenes for secrets of the ocean realm. 2 years filled with adventure and discovery. The motor vessel Conception at anchor in the California Channel Islands National Park. Cameraman Howard Hall and Bob Cranston are dressing for work.
Head up.
They will be joined underwater by assistant cameraman Mark Conlon and series producer Michelle Hall. Howard and Bob will dive wearing space-age life support systems called rebreathers, which are capable of extending dives to as long as 12 hours. Underwater film work is a team effort, often requiring bulky cameras, heavy tripods, and powerful movie lights. The crew descends to a small outcropping of rock 60 feet below the surface and begins setting up for a day's work. The warm colors of the spectrum are absorbed as sunlight passes through seawater, so artificial light is used to bring out color in images that otherwise would appear only as various shades of blue. The object of all this attention is a small fish called a sarcastic fringehead. Actually, there are 2 male fringeheads living on this rock, but that's one too many. Howard anticipates a fight and is hoping to catch the action on film. Now it's just a matter of watching and waiting. But after several days of work and many hours underwater, the film crew is rewarded with this: the threat display of the sarcastic fringehead. Filming these kinds of animal behaviors is possible in part due to the special diving equipment Howard and Bob wear. The rebreathers are experimental prototypes originally built for the U.S. military and allow the divers to descend deeper and stay longer than ever before. Howard and Bob are the first to apply this technology to wildlife film work.
With this piece of gear, we can go down to 70 feet, where normally you can only stay about 40 minutes, and we could stay for 4 hours at a time. We could stay all day if we wanted to, and then at the end of 4 hours, we didn't have to do decompression. We could come up and have a bite to eat and go right back down for 4 hours.
But being able to stay underwater all day has its disadvantages.
And then we realized what we were missing out on was all that surface interval time where normally we'd have a hamburger, have a Coke, read a magazine, get a little sun. Now with the rebreather, we had no excuse for not working all the time.
In the Sea of Cortez, Howard and Bob use rebreathers to film schooling hammerhead sharks. Hammerheads flee at the sound of scuba bubbles, and the divers hope that silent, bubble-free rebreathers will allow them to enter the schools and perhaps discover the reason for the schooling behavior. Resting on a rocky plateau 130 feet below the surface, the divers are soon rewarded with a spectacular scene. Hundreds of hammerhead sharks approach. It's the largest school Howard has ever seen. Howard's movie camera is rolling as sharks pass close overhead, seemingly unaware of his presence. Above, the watery sky fills with hammerhead sharks. But the biggest surprise was yet to come.
I was filming, looking one way, and I turned around to look at Bob, and I saw two sharks falling out of the sky, and falling very fast. Sharks are very heavy, and these were 12-foot long animals, and they looked like they were going to about land on Bob's head.
The sharks were mating. It was the first time anyone had ever witnessed this behavior. Capturing unusual marine life behavior was the primary goal of the Secret's film crew. On the Bahamas banks, the divers turned their cameras on bottlenose dolphins, feeding on fish buried in the sand. Amazingly, the dolphins' echolocation can detect fish hiding several inches beneath the surface. Then, as Howard's camera rolls, a dolphin does something he's never seen before. Using jets of water forced from his mouth, the dolphin digs deep into the sand in pursuit of small fish. This surprising behavior was only recently discovered and has seldom been photographed. The divers even watch as a female dolphin teaches her calf the technique.
And it seemed that she was teaching the calf how to do this. She'd get her nose down in there and dig around and somehow puff the sand out, obviously going after that fish. And the baby was there also watching, and it was just great behavior. You could even see the dolphin as it would come up out of the sand sometimes with the fish on the end of its rostrum and eat it as it swam away.
Off the coast of California, the film crew's cameras capture an even rarer scene: the feeding behavior of a California gray whale. Gray whales also feed by digging in the sand, but the behavior had been rarely witnessed and even more rarely filmed. The whale feeds by rolling on its side to suck in huge quantities of silt and mud. Then, using comb-like baleen, it filters out a variety of shrimp-like crustaceans. Howard and Bob move in with their cameras. Bob captures the behavior with his still camera as the whale searches the bottom for food. Howard hovers above, recording the scene on film. The whale continues to feed, seemingly undisturbed by the divers. The images are remarkable, providing a rare record of a behavior seldom seen. The winter coast of Patagonia. Here, Howard and Bob hope to film one of the most elusive species of great whales. These waters are the winter refuge of the southern right whale. And it is here that the divers will have the experience of a lifetime. Howard descends first. He is joined by cameraman Marty Snyderman and Bob Cranston. It is a waste of effort for divers to attempt pursuing a whale underwater. The film crew's best hope is that the whale becomes curious and comes to the divers. Not only does this young right whale become curious, but it begins to follow the divers everywhere they go. It seems especially happy to be scratched just above the eye.
Look in its eye and see the little parasites around its head and around its eye, and reach out and scratch it. And it's looking back at you. And it sees you, and you see it, and there's a feeling that goes between you and this animal, which is an intelligent animal. And you can tell it's intelligent.
These are rare and special moments when the discomforts of frigid waters and aching muscles are totally forgotten.
It's a tough job because the water's 45 degrees and the wind's blowing off Antarctica at 25 knots and you're freezing to death, but you're so excited that you're just loving this job.
His camera out of film, Howard also takes a moment to befriend a creature few others will ever know. The tropical Caribbean was the location for the film crew's most spectacular encounter with leviathans. Here, soaring over the coral reef, the divers find humpback whales. Again, the encounter is only possible because the whales are just as interested in the divers as the divers are in the whales. Feet below the surface, Howard trains his camera on humpback whales that soar past the reef. Bob moves out of the way as a pair of leviathans glide through a coral canyon. Curious, a whale reaches out gently with its enormous pectoral fin and nearly touches Howard's camera. Some of the film crew's most amazing encounters have been with much smaller creatures. This jellyfish is a variety the film crew has never seen before. And traveling with the jellyfish are animals just as unique.
So we took the footage and we sent it off to some jellyfish experts. And they immediately called back and said, you know, we've been through all of our texts. We've never seen this before. We're pretty sure it's a new species to science, and it's something that no one has ever seen before. And so every once in a while you luck out and, you know, you get to be an explorer. And that, to me, is the best part of the job.
Not only is the jellyfish a new species, but traveling with it are animals doing some very bizarre things. Just what this crab is doing with the strange tassels on its rear legs is a mystery. The footage is unique, and the behavior remains completely unexplained. In the ocean, even the most unusual creatures can be surprisingly friendly. A wolf eel looks terrifying, but to Michelle, it's as cute and as lovable as a puppy. It's easy for Michelle to find beauty in the faces of creatures even as frightful as the wolf eel. But being a still photographer, working with a natural history film crew, is more challenging. Being surrounded by nearly 100 reef sharks might seem dangerous, but it makes for great photographs. And the risk is really quite small. In situations like this, Michelle is never alone. Bob and Howard are always nearby, capturing the scene with their movie cameras. The photographs Michelle captures will be published in a companion book to the television series. A shipwreck 130 feet below the Atlantic. Here, Howard and Bob pursue a different species of shark. The shipwreck is the haunt of sand tigers. As Bob tends the light cables, he keeps an eye on Howard's back. The sharks are everywhere. The protruding, fang-like teeth give these sharks a malevolent look. But looks can be deceiving. Despite their frightening teeth, these sharks pose little threat to the divers. Bob even reaches out and gives one a gentle scratch on the back. Ironically, the schools of fish are also unafraid of the sharks. Instead, they gather tightly around the sand tigers as protection from amberjacks and other predators, a behavior Howard was anxious to photograph. It takes patience to capture behavior on film. But sometimes things take a surprising turn. Howard spent 4 days quietly approaching this loggerhead turtle before he discovered that it was entirely unafraid of him.
It really liked my light meter. And instead of being afraid of me, it came right over to the camera and tried to eat my light meter. And that was a real turn of events for us, because I realized I could go almost any place, and as long as I kind of flashed the camera in the direction of the turtle, he would come over toward me and he'd try to eat the light meter first, and we realized it was inedible again. He would forage in the area, and we were able to get great scenes of him feeding on some of the things that he eats.
But Howard is not always so lucky, and things don't always go as planned. Sometimes the camera fails at the most inopportune moment. Sometimes the animal does the unexpected. Sometimes things just go wrong. People are always asking me how difficult my job is,
And they think, you know, I must have to work such long hours, and we have to spend so much time underwater, and we must get so cold, and it must be so dangerous. But the truth of the matter is, this is the best job in the world. I have more fun than anybody else I know, and I wouldn't trade what I do for a living with anybody.
It's unlikely that Howard will be changing jobs anytime soon. Underwater is where he belongs, and filming marine life is what he does best.